Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I was reading some meditations earlier. It actually started off today, and it was very, very rainy, but now it's like pretty outside. The skies are blue. It's starting to become a very nice evening. So I was sitting around and I was reading some meditation books that I hadn't read from this week. And one of them was The Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone, which is one of my favorite books. And the one from yesterday kind of just like stood out to me. So I want to read it to you guys, and hopefully it will resonate with you the way that it did with me. September 24th, recovering. Suffering isn't ennobling, recovery is. Christian Barnard. We've all heard that suffering makes us stronger, that we learn from our difficulties. This may be true, but not in the simple way we might think. Difficult times don't make us better. Working through difficult times does. Suffering can force us to draw on strengths we never knew we had. Discovering these hidden strengths can then help us cope, should difficult times come again. I hate bad times as much as anyone does, but I know I'm strong enough to get through them and recover from them. And I think it's a really important meditation to remember. You know, I was sitting there as I was reading it, and I was thinking back like on some really, really difficult times in my life. And I mean, honestly, like times that I really thought like I'm never going to be able to move forward, you know, whether it's my mom's passing or my aunt and uncle's passing, or, you know, breakups that I've had in my life, and just really tough things. Even getting sober, like that first year was just hell for me, you know? And I was thinking back on all these difficult times in my life, and I was like, okay, but you're still here. You're still standing, right? And, you know, there was this recovery saying, and it's like, you know, God never gives you more than you can handle. And I'd always really, really loved that that saying, and I had always like said it in meetings, and I had heard a lot of people say it. It's not like a new thing. A lot of people say it, you know. And the other thing is that people say things like, you know, God didn't bring me this far to dump me on my ass, kind of thing. And I believe that. I really do, you know. But then one night I was sitting in a meeting, and a friend of mine said, I'm not a big believer in the whole idea that, you know, like, God doesn't give us more than we can handle in a day. I believe that God gives us some stuff that we can't handle, but with our higher power, we can get through it. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's profound. It was like that moment when, you know, like, did you ever hear the saying back in the day? And it was like, oh, the journey, it's not the journey, it's the destination. But then I was watching like a Nissan Pathfinder ad, and it was like, the journey is the destination. And I was like, you know what I mean? It was like one of those aha moments with like slogan. Boo Radley is being like a cat right now. He is like winding in and out of my legs. But it was like one of those aha moments where like I really understood something on a different level. And when he said that, you know, that like, I don't believe that God gives us more than we can handle. I think God gives us a lot of stuff that we can't handle. But with our higher power, or whatever that is to you, whatever your belief is, you know, or non-belief, or your coping mechanisms, your defense, the things that, you know, help you get through things in life. With those things, we can get through anything, you know? And I think that for many of us that have been through tough stuff, you know, if you go back and you ask yourself, like, what are some of the toughest times you've ever had in your life, right? Whether it's, you know, losing a friend or a family member, or, you know, whether it's like, you know, leaving a relationship or whatever, you're getting sober, or, you know, a horrible car accident or whatever, something that you thought, I will never get through in my life, you know? Pick one or two out and then ask yourself, and not something that just happened 6 months ago, but maybe something that happened 5 or 10 years ago, and ask yourself, have I moved on? Like, am I in a different place? Have I survived? And, you know, if you've survived, then you have gotten through that with the skills that you've learned. And each time we move through something, we learn more about ourselves. We learn more, you know, how to respond to things, and how to, I don't know, like how to get through these tough times. Because I definitely now, you know, don't respond to things that I used to respond. I just don't, you know, like when really horrible shit happens in my life now, I'm kind of like, okay, like, you know, when my aunt was really, really sick, it was so hard for me. And, you know, I knew that like days were numbered and we were getting to the end, and it wasn't like anybody was keeping a secret about it. I mean, we were all talking about it, and it was hard. I was like, here we go again. Like with my mom, here's my aunt, who was like probably, you know, in my life, the second closest family member I'd ever had, you know, besides my dad, who's still alive. And I was like, and here she's going too, and I'm not going to make it, you know, through that. And then yesterday I go to brunch, and I'm sitting there with my cousin. I said brunch, she said lunch. She goes, at 1:30, it's not brunch, Peter, it's lunch. So anyway, I'm sitting there, you know, and I'm like, we're both sitting there talking, and I'm thinking, my cousin's lost both of her parents within 18 months, and we're sitting here and we're laughing about good times from the past, and we've gotten through it. you know, life goes on and you're gonna get through shit. And I just wanted to read this meditation because I think it's a good reminder for all of us. And especially, you know, I think for any person out there that is saying to yourself, well, this happened to me 5 years ago and I'm still stuck, I can't get out of it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have to believe that you're going to get through this. You have to believe in your heart of hearts, like, I'm going to make it to the other side. Things are going to get better, and you're going to get past it at some point, you know? I get so many messages from people that say, like, you know, my mom or my dad or my best friend or so-and-so passed away so many years ago, and I just can't move on. And the reality is this, okay? You may still have grief in your heart, but days have gone on. You have continued to live. You have. Whether you want to acknowledge that or not, you have, I mean, it's been 5 or 10 years. So you have continued to live. And you need to remind yourself of that. You need to remind yourself that you're doing better than you think you are, you know? Because I think there's so many of us that get in this mentality that I'm stuck, I can't get out of this, like, why can't I move on? When the reality is, go back and count the days up. Yeah, and maybe some of those days don't feel like you accomplished a whole lot or that you were just stuck in grief. But the reality is, you did move on. And things are probably, even if they're just a little bit better, they're probably a little bit better than they were back then. So I think it's important for us to remember that we are continuing to move on day by day. And to every time you go through something difficult, look at it and say, okay, what are the lessons I'm supposed to be learning right now? And how am I getting through this? And how can I apply this to the next time that it happens in my life? You know, and that's what I've done when people have passed away in my life and relationships have ended and, you know, things have happened that have been really tough. And, you know, I think back a lot on that first year of sobriety, and one of the things that was like really powerful to me at the end of that year was that I had made it through an entire year, not drinking, using drugs or anything. Every holiday, you know, every birthday, every Sunday, every Saturday night, every Friday night, every Wednesday afternoon. I had made it through everything that could possibly happen in 1 year sober. And so at the end of the year, I no longer had that excuse that I couldn't make it through that stuff anymore, you know, because I had made it through everything for 1 year, and it was so powerful to me. I can remember that, like, right after that 1 year, I was like, holy shit, like, you've made it through everything. You know, back in the day, I would say, you know, it's summer, I want to drink, or, you know, we're going to a concert, and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and I look back and I was like, you've done this, like, you can do this. And so I think a lot of that, and that's where the positive affirmations come for me, that I start and I read every morning, you know, it's kind of like being in my head and saying, you know, like, you're gonna be okay, like, things are gonna be okay, you know, you made it through your mom, you're gonna make it through your aunt passing away too, you know what I mean? And, I know in the future, when I lose other people that pass away or things happen in my life, I'm gonna be okay eventually, you know? And I think it's just reminding yourself from having gone through things in the past that things in the future are gonna be okay too. So I hope that helps some of you guys out there. If you're needing a recommendation for a meditation book, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone is fantastic. I saw it at Meijer. I think I saw it at Walmart, but I'm not sure. You can get it online, it's fantastic. So, and it's all positive stuff in here. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.